Damn, it's been so long. It's crazy.
It really has.
It really has. Okay.
I didn't know what to do, so I just ran and I left there.
I mean, with us. You're not heroes.
Oh my God, here we are.
We're here.
Welcome to the latest episode of Lindsay. Oh my God, I have chill bumps from that trailer. By the way, guys, Lindsay made that trailer.
Yay! Let's not talk about how long it took me to make. But
oh my God, like that's better than any trailer that Stranger Things has ever put out.
Oh, don't go that far.
I'm serious. It's really
very happy with it.
If it gives me chill bumps, then that's
it does give the chill bumps, and that might be the music. It might be Billy. I don't know.
Well, that's part of the. You got to have the good music, right?
Absolutely, music makes everything. It's all about score.
Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Like this is crazy. You're like this. Is this the first time you've been in front of the camera in
like
quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's so freaking nice to have you back. I'll say, and I'm sure everybody in the chat is happy to see you there.
I'm happy to be back with you on a stream, just doing this again. That makes
it's like old times, right?
Yeah,
it's just fun. It's crazy.
And I'm still I'm seeing all the same names that I always see, and I'm always chatting with in your chats, and I love seeing everybody. Jaws the Revenge rocks. Yes, it does.
I think you're a little bit biased for Lance.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. What's his last name?
Guest?
Yeah, Lance Guest. That's right. How did I not know that?
And then we have Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Just say Michael Caine, and then it works.
He said he took the job just so he could buy a house, right?
Yes. He wanted a house, and I think he wanted a vacation, and it's like totally like a Betsy Palmer, she just needed a car type of thing, right?
I was just gonna bring that
Hers
up.
worked out a little bit better, but
I think a lot of stars do that. They just take a role just so they can buy something.
I think
pay a
Jamie
bill.
Lee Curtis did that with Halloween 2018.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Hey, I saw Frank Riker and probably a few others say that they've never watched a single episode of Stranger Things.
What?
Does that blow your mind?
It is like I only have like maybe like a handful of shows that are like I call like my comfort shows.
Yeah.
And it's like Dexter, oddly obsessed and passionate about it. Buffy, Charmed, Dawson's Creek, don't tease me.
Oh, I'm gonna tease.
And Stranger Things. Like I watch those shows over and over and over again. Oh, actually, I have to include One Tree Hill. But like I put them on in the background and they're comforting for me. But Stranger Things has just been on a loop in this house for months.
I think background shows and TV is more popular than ever now because of streaming. And I would bet most people in the chat, they probably throw stuff on in the background while they're doing something else. That's just Netflix
like
for you.
When we were younger, well, maybe not when you were younger. But
I can't remember back that far.
Well, because you didn't have like string quartets playing your music for you.
No.
But, like when I was
I
a
think
kid,
they had
like,
a rock and a
I would
spoon
be
back
throwing
then for music.
on like you'd have like the Aqua and like Linkin Park and D12. Oh, D12 was like early high school. Those were the days. But like you throw on that kind of stuff. Limp Bizkit. Oh my God. Back in the day. And that was your background noise. But as like television shows and like sitcoms were huge for this, like with Friends and Seinfeld and that sort of thing, it just became something that people rewatched more because then you were getting like the VHS sets and the DVD sets and all of that. So people were able to rewatch stuff. So they always had that on in the background. And
I think that's part of the reason why people do background shows even more is because they don't have to take the disc out and put it in the tray.
It's all streaming now.
Hit play. It's just streaming. Boom, you hit, and it even does it for you. It says, okay, let's go on to the next episode.
Oh, and if you couldn't get back to the device in time, so the menu would just play over and over and over again.
Just over and over all night.
Yeah. I used to fall asleep to like Buffy and then the morning, like wake up and just the intros going over and over again. And John's like, please turn that fucking off.
You know what I used to do? We're bullshitting. What I used to do is when I was deployed, I had the DVD sets of The Incredible Hulk seasons 1 through 5. And so I literally ripped every episode, one episode a night, I would set it, and then go to bed and then wake up and it'd be done. It took me like, I think 2 months to do the entire 5 seasons. That's how bored you get when you're deployed.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice to freaking have you back.
It's
and
so nice
hopefully this is the first of many. And it's just so cool that we can talk.
It's been so long too, like all day, every day. We're just sending like voice notes back and forth and stuff like that. We're not talking face to face, or like you're on a stream and I'm in the chat room making fun of you.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Now you can
It's
now you
nice
can make
to be
fun of
here
me
face to face.
on the stream.
Yeah. It's good.
But guys, just so you know, this wasn't like a quick thing. Lindsay and I have been friends, or we've been talking for over a year now, right?
Well over a year.
And it took a long time for me to talk her into streaming again. And I think we just wanted to wait until the right time,
Stranger Things is that time.
Yeah. I think you planned this all along, actually.
Maybe. Yeah, I was just biding my time. Just giving you little nuggets here and there, like, oh yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. Just wait until season 4.
Now, are you excited? Like, do you get excited with every season? Because I almost gave up on Stranger Things after season 3. And that's not fair for me to say because I don't think I really gave it its fair due. But then when season 4 came along, I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. And I was like, holy shit, this show is amazing now.
See, it's kind of funny, like you say that though, because season 1, it had been out for a while before I actually even gave it a shot. Like everybody was talking about it. I'm like, yeah, like it sounds like something that I'd probably be into, but like I don't like starting new shows. I hate waiting between seasons, like a lot of the time, like I just wait for shows to be over and then I binge them. Like I'm impatient like that. So it took me a while, and I really liked season 1. I wasn't a huge fan of season 2, but then season 3, it's funny that you said that, is that I love season 3, and season 3 was what got me like, oh yeah, now I'm in this for the long haul now. They've got me.
One
So
thing I
when
like about
season 4 was coming out, I was just like ecstatic, over the moon, jumping on the roof type of thing.
Well, I'm jumping forward a little bit here, but one thing about season 3, because for me, because I didn't give it its due, I thought season 3 was like the most forgettable season. And then when I went back and watched it, I liked it a lot better. And just because it has a little bit, and tell me if you disagree with me on this, but it has a little bit of that like Invasion of the Body Snatch vibe.
Oh
to
no,
it
100%. That's
some of the
I always
characters.
say it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, maybe Cronenberg's like Shivers, because like there's like a hive mind type of thing to it too, right?
Yeah.
Slither, it's a lot like Slither. Everything's connected. Everybody that's like quote unquote possessed or taken over or whatever, it all has the one hive mind. But no, absolutely, I was going to bring up Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like, and I'm talking like the 77, I think it's 77, 78 version. Yeah.
I've never seen I don't think I've seen that horrible remake with Nicole Kidman, Invasion.
Yeah. Not a good time. Zero out of 10. Do not recommend.
I'm one of those guys, like I saw the remake of Martyrs, but I never saw the original. And man, so many people were like, holy shit. See,
and we're going to get so way off topic here, but I'm one of those people, I don't actually hate Martyrs, like the American remake. I don't hate it that much. Like I don't have the original up on like a pedestal though too. Like when it was done, like everybody's like, oh, you feel this way or that way. And I'm like, what's wrong with me that I didn't? Like I felt fine after watching it. But then when I watched the remake, there was something about it, and maybe it's because I recognized characters and actors that were in it. And I think that's like a disconnect when you watch foreign films, is that then I'm recognizing these people, and I can never pronounce her name. Whatever.
I have no idea.
Chick from Pretty Little Liars. And I'm like, it's so weird seeing her in this kind of role. And she's a really, really great actress. So even though people didn't like the movie, I still think that people didn't really knock her performance too much, because she's really good at what she does. And I enjoyed her. I didn't hate the movie. I liked the colors more. I felt like it was brighter and less bleak and dark. But
that's important to me too, because the original is a very just dark movie.
Yeah, there's a gray tone to everything. And I think that they did that very much on purpose, but it's just not for me, I guess. I still think it's
well,
great
I think
film.
If anything, the remake, it's good for people that aren't really, they don't really like foreign films, because sometimes there's a disconnect with the dialogue and everything. Whereas the remake, you get the American dialogue, you get the actors. Yeah. And I think the remake's still pretty hardcore. I mean, with the violence. So
absolutely. Same page, dude. Very rare, but it happens.
Before we jump into Stranger Things, because this whole stream is going to be about Stranger Things, but I told Lindsay before, I'm going to throw her like a curveball, a couple curveballs, keep her on her toes. We were talking about, because we love music, right? So we were talking about Metallica right before this, and you brought up like Ride the Lightning. So I was wondering, are you one of those Metallica fans that you hold the first 4 albums like higher than everything else, or are you kind of like mixed with it?
I am one of the weirdest Metallica fans. So like,
here we go.
The only reason I even know about Metallica, like we were just talking about this yesterday with my sister. She doesn't really know like any Metallica music, because I was raised like with my dad. He listened to like oldies, and my mom, who was a huge country fan. It was my aunt that introduced me to all music. Like she played Zeppelin for me for the first time, and Floyd and Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull is one of her all-time favorites. And Metallica was up there. And so the only reason I even know Metallica is because of her. And so a lot of the songs, like I didn't necessarily like know like album names and that sort of thing. Like I knew certain songs and the names of those songs. But like sometimes like somebody could turn something on, like I know this is Metallica, like I know their sound, but I don't know what song this is, because I didn't know them that well. But through the late 90s and early 2000s, I really started to dislike them as people. Like there was the whole Napster thing, and like I remember there was it was like a benefit, and I'm pretty sure it was for like a children's hospital or something like that. Like it had to do with kids. Yeah. And they had used, not even like, it was their like I can't remember what you call it when there's no lyrics to it. It's just like the music.
Oh, it's like an instrumental?
Yeah, they just used that for something, for like an advertisement, but apparently like they hadn't like necessarily gotten the rights to it. But it was like an orchestra that was doing it. It wasn't even Metallica's music. It was just like them playing it. It was just their music being played by somebody else. But Metallica lost their minds over it. And I'm like, this is for like a benefit for freaking kids, guys. Like, and when like they were being announced for, like, everybody was speculating for Stranger Things, like, oh, that's going to be Master of Puppets. And I'm like, how much would that have cost them? Because Metallica is all about the money. Yeah. And for years, like, that's just how I've felt about them. Like, they're not so much about the music anymore. They're all about the money. And like, sometimes like I think about like certain other bands that like, they just willingly give their music to different avenues because they just want the music to be shared, because that's their passion. Money's not their passion. With Metallica, I feel like it is. So I'm a weird Metallica fan where I enjoy their music. I still put it on a regular basis, but I'm not gonna run out and buy new stuff or anything like that. I'll stream it.
I like how you brought it right back full circle. I think Lars might be a big issue. Well, I think each member of Metallica has their own different weird personality. Like Lars is the guy who's kind of pisses people off. He's not. His drumming is very controversial. I'll just say that. And then you got James Hetfield, who's just very controlling, and he is the reason why Jason Newsted left the band. Yeah, Jason Newsted's probably more like you're thinking, where he's more about the music, and he'd be fine with probably giving. And
like Hammett, he was like he was so poetic. Like even just naming Ride the Lightning after like a line from a Stephen King book, because he loved that novel. Yeah. Like everything was just with reason and purpose, and I think just over the years they lost sight of that, and it was all just about monetary gain. And
it's obvious in the music too.
And I mean, like, if I were a big fucking metal band, I would probably be all about the fucking money too, but I'm not, so I can judge.
There you go. It's fun. Okay. All right. First thing I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a mother, you have 2 small children, so you don't get a chance to watch the new movies. It's true. You don't get a chance to watch the new movies as much. Are they behind the divider?
I forgot where I left them.
Like banging on it? Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask you about, have you watched any movies this year? I know you have, but is there 1 or 2 movies that have really stuck out that you really liked this year? Because, and before you answer, I'll say this too. I think you and I have something in common in terms of like taste in movies. We both have very strange, weird, sometimes surprising taste in movies, and a lot of times we even disagree with what each other. We
clash all the time.
I mean, probably like on a daily basis, but
yeah.
So I never know what you're gonna like and what you don't like. You know,
we both liked X.
Yep.
We both loved X. Like, I remember I was nervous going into it because everybody was loving it. You loved it. And I'm like, if Lee loves it, I'm probably going to hate it. Yep. But I really, really liked it. And Black Phone, really, really liked. It took me 2 days to watch it because I have to watch it during my youngest naps.
Yep.
But loved the Black Phone. Scream.
Here we go. See, that I baited you. That's what I was looking for.
You fuck.
Because you're a big Scream fan.
Huge.
So I'm sure the people really want to know what does Mother Mayhem think of Scream 5?
They probably don't give a flying bunny's ass of what I think about Scream. Everybody's already made up their mind, and most people love it. I don't know what it is. And like, I was one of the biggest champions for, I don't think they need Wes to make a good Scream film. Like Wes was a big part of the magic, but I don't think that they need him for it. And no, it didn't feel like a Scream film. And like, you could throw in the same ingredients, but like the baking was wrong. I don't know what it was. And it sucks too. Cause like, Quaid, love him, adore him,
Oh,
think he's
yeah.
just so cute, want to nibble his nose. He's
amazing.
adorable. And then there was the girl who played the younger sister. Really like her.
Is it Jenna Ortega?
Yeah, really enjoy her. But there was something that just didn't feel right about the movie, and it didn't feel like a Scream movie to me. And like that, there's just even like any of the Scream films, and correct me if I'm wrong if you didn't feel this way, but like on a first watch, it gives you nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like you watch like the very, very first time when the second one came out, it just gave you nostalgic feelings thinking about the first one. The third one gave you nostalgia, and like they even had like references that made you feel nostalgic, not necessarily towards Scream, but just like to every person out there. And the fourth one, it was so many years later, and it just, every teeny tiny little moment was thought about so precisely, and there was just so much effort put into it. This one, I feel like, I don't know, it didn't, they walked around all of the things that they should have hit on. So it was in the vicinity of it, but it just still didn't, like, it didn't sit down in the chair. It played like Ring Around the Rosie around the chair and then wandered away. It didn't quite nail it for me. And I left that movie, and like I was texting you from start to finish, like every 2 minutes I'm sending you a message and I'm like, what? And I'm getting angrier and angrier. And by the time I was done, I think it was like 4 o'clock, and I messaged John. I was like, I just finished the new Scream movie. I'm opening a beer. I am angry and I cannot, like, I need a drink right now. And I usually, like, I won't start a drink that early in the day if it's a day that I do have drinks or whatever, but I was so upset. And I'm not looking forward to the next one. The only thing like maybe that they have going for them is Hayden, because we all love Kirby and that's so exciting. But then they announce, Hottie Margot Robbie knockoff.
Oh, Samara Weaving.
Yes. Adore her. I think she's fabulous. I think she's better than Margot Robbie. But then they do that, and I'm like, I feel like you're burying the lead for Hayden with that one. And it's disrespectful to Hayden to me, because I'm like, she should be your lead. And now, but you're bringing out Samara after the fact, and now everybody's forgetting about Kirby. So I'm not looking forward to it.
That was my next question. I was wondering if you were excited about the next one. So I guess you're not.
I'll take the 0.
You take the 0. You're still gonna watch it. Stop it.
Oh, Frank Riker. Lindsay grabbed a beer. I got a barf bag. Thank you, Frank. Same.
Frank's the best.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree. I probably like it a little bit more than you do. I pretty much agree with all your points, but I just found myself frustrated with the movie, because I went into a new Scream movie and plus I was one of those guys championing. How do you say that? That this movie can be good without Wes Craven. I'm just going to skip right over that word. I thought this movie could be really, really good. I was actually really excited about the two guys that directed it. Okay, I was really excited about them, but. Because I loved Ready or Not, but
Ready or Not, so incredible.
It's incredible,
so well done. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just didn't fully. I give it like a 3 out of 5. Because I think Jenna Ortega is great in it. I love her. I didn't mind Sam. She's okay. The actress that played Sam. But by the way, the actress that played Sam, I don't know if you're on watching Netflix, but she's got a new show called Just Breathe. And it's so freaking boring, but it's one of those like lost.
I'm going to put that on my to watch list.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to sell it to you, but
I'll probably like it.
They're trying to do Lost. There's like a plane crash, and then she's stuck on this island, and every episode is just her having this like philosophical moment, and it's just
so boring, they're doing like another Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Have you watched Yellow Jackets?
But Yellow Jackets is great.
So good.
I love Yellow Jackets because shit happens in Yellow Jackets, whereas this, like, nothing happens.
Yeah, I still don't even know who to trust on Yellow Jackets. I'm like, it's very much like Lost. At the end of every episode, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
That's a damn good show. I like Yellow Jackets.
So good.
Do you want to get into Stranger Things? I think you do.
I really do.
Okay, you really do. I'm trying to make you sweat. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me pull up my note here. Hold on just a sec.
Okay.
Not that I really need to, but
No.
yeah. Well, I want to look at your notes because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Because yours is more about like what is it about theories that makes you excited about Stranger Things?
Well, I mean, like, it's the realm of possibilities, I guess. And I think like most of us, like especially horror fans, we theorize from the opening 5 minutes of a horror movie, right? Like we already start guessing of what's coming, what's going to happen, who the killer is going to be. And like we are bred for this. So for shows, like between seasons or between like, say for example with Stranger Things 2, like between volume 1 and volume 2, like we were just running fucking rampant, theorizing what could be coming because the anticipation is so much for us. And we are so used to having that instant 90-minute like gratification. Right. And so is it okay if I kind of segue off?
For it.
Okay. So
go for it. Yeah.
I am very, very guilty of theories, and we are going to get into some theories at some point tonight, but I think that it is also incredibly dangerous because it is very, very clear that the Duffer Brothers pay attention to this stuff. And right now, the huge thing is the whole cast the bloody handed, right? Like I brought that up to you like almost immediately after the volume 2 came out. And I was like, okay, so here, think about this. And then other people were obviously thinking the same thing. And then it just ran rampant all over the internet. And now it is so heavily presented everywhere that I'm like, the Duffers are going to be like, okay, no, guys, that was a really great idea. But now all of you are expecting it. So now we're not going to fucking do it. And that's what's so dangerous with heavily publicizing theories. Like talk about it like this or in like small little groups. But these people that are making full like videos and they have huge platforms. I don't even have a platform, so I don't care. I'm going to say what the fuck I want. But I feel like that gets things ruined. So we are not going to see Eddie as Cass. It's not going to happen. No. If they bring Eddie back,
they go
I
the
will be
opposite
shocked.
direction, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the Duffers do because they have their finger on the pulse of the audience, right? Like they pay very, very close attention and they're not going to do it. Everybody's expecting it. So they're not going to have a shock value. So now they're not going to do it. And I am so angry because I'm not going to get my Eddie back. Cause I feel like I'm like, okay, how else can they do it? How else can they bring Eddie back? Cause like, I also was like, okay, no, they're not going to actually do a vampire thing because it's not actually D&D. Like everybody, we understand this, right? But that's their reference. That's their board of reference. So they're like, oh, this is kind of like this person. This is kind of like the Mind Flayer. This is like, they just kind of resemblance. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, yeah. Like he's going to be undead of some kind. Right. So, and then they're going to be like, he's helping him now. Oh my God. He's like Cass, the bloody handed. But now I just don't think we're going to see it. I do not think that Joe is going to come back and we are not going to get more Eddie. And I'm angry. I'm angry at the internet because I feel like they've foobarred us out of more Eddie. And
to give an example, like Game of Thrones, everybody was theorizing about Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it came out that, cover years if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, but it came out that Jon Snow was a Targaryen. And after it was like, nobody cares, just because the last season was arguably so bad that it kind of just wiped that clean anyway. So, and also I think there's a thing about fan service. Fan service can be a dangerous thing because if you give people exactly what they want, I don't know, it's almost like a reverse psychology aspect to it. And then when you're watching it, oh, there's what I want. Okay. You know what I mean? Then you want to be surprised more. So what's your take on that?
most studios, writers, directors, they want the surprise aspect, right? They don't want to do what is the expected. So even if it is going to be fan service, they're not going to go the expected route. I'm sorry. It's not like, say, with like the Snyder cut of Justice League. You can't start a petition, and I've seen like 6 or 7 of them at least of bring Eddie back, and I'm like, guys, just stop with the petition. It's not going to happen. The more that you ask for this stuff, the more that they're not going to want to do it. And they are all so obsessed with Joe. If you hadn't done anything, he would be back. I have zero doubt in my mind that they would have brought him back, because they fell in love with him so much. They already knew that audiences loved him so much. You create this much of a stir about it, then they're going to go, this is what everybody's expecting. Now we can't do it. Thanks a lot, guys. And they're all probably mad at you too, just like I am.
Maybe they'll bring him back, but it just won't be the way we think. Like I was looking at Destiny's comment there, and she was like, I don't want him to come back as an evil vampire. I just want him to come back as the cute, soft boy that he is.
He's not cute and soft. Sorry, Destiny. He's disrespectful. I always see that. Like these girls saying like, oh, his eyes, like he has the kindest eyes. I'm like, bitch, he has disrespectful eyes. He has eyes like, I want you to do things to me that you can't look me straight in the face afterwards. I want you to be ashamed. That's what his eyes are. And like, people just need to stop treating him like this. He's this little innocent puppy. He's not. I have seen some of his other shows, his other works, where there has been some pretty promiscuous scenes, and I'm just like, I go for a cigarette afterwards. That man is, there's not a gentle or kind thing about him. Like he's adorable, yes, but that man is disrespectful. Continue.
He reminds me of Robert Downey Jr. a little bit.
See, I also I can kind of see early Robert Downey. But my brain, when I look at him, I see Heath Ledger and Luke Evans.
Yeah, you're right. I see both
eye
those.
Crinkles.
Yep.
And like the smile is a perfect blend between Luke Evans, that shit-eating grin, and Heath Ledger's like that just full face kind of smile. But the eyes with the crinkles, that's all Luke Evans. Like, oh.
I knew this would happen.
I'm entirely
Lindsay's gonna be pining over the cute boys
to be looking at him the way that I do.
Women love Luke Evans to death, don't they?
And you know what? And I have people that they're like, isn't he gay? And I'm like, I don't care if he likes the company of sock puppets. I would still give my life for that man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will carry his children with his like male lover. I don't care. Like, just let me be in his vicinity.
You got mad at me when I said I don't think he's gonna be a good Crow at this point.
Yeah, I did get mad at you.
You got mad.
He could have been great.
No, you're probably right.
I've seen like the fan art of his face done, and I'm like, yeah.
He's got the look, but he looks too much like Vincent Perez to me.
Who?
The City of Angels? Vincent Perez, the Crow?
Dude, I watched the first one, and after that I was like, okay, peace out, I'm gone. You
didn't see the second one?
No.
I honestly, Lindsay, because of your eccentric taste, because you like movies like Black Christmas Remake 2006, I think you would like City of Angels. I really do.
Okay, add it to the list. It'll be some of horror homework.
It's grown on me quite a bit. It's chat. Let us know what you think of City of Angels. I know most, like, it's regarded as a hated movie. A lot of people hate it, but there's something about that movie, and I really like his performance too, because he didn't try to copy Brandon Lee. So you got to watch it. I'm telling you, I think you'll like it.
I'll add it to my list.
It's got one of the greatest rock soundtracks I've ever heard.
You're constantly telling me to watch certain movies. Like, my list is like a Word document of like 17 pages. Long.
Well, add that one bump that one to the top.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I can give you my thoughts on Eddie. Is I think it was kind of a twofer with him, because I hung around that crowd in the 80s. I was kind of a stoner kid, even though I didn't really.
Well, you babysat them, right? You were like 30 or so.
Yeah. I was like, I think I was like 40 at the time, but No, that's the crowd I hung out with. I hung out with those guys just because they were fun to hang out with. And I saw guys that literally looked exactly like Eddie with the hair, the jean jacket. And I think that type of character, when you pump the Hollywood juice into him, I knew he would be irresistible in a modern world. If audiences today saw that character from the 80s, they would automatically fall in love with him. Like I didn't know that this existed, you know?
There's a reason why like girls like myself like were obsessed with those guys going through like even as young like as I was in the 80s and in the 90s and like transcending like the 80s like metal bands, but like one of mine from when I was in high school, and he had a he had a leather jacket that had the spikes that like obviously he had put in through the shoulders, and same thing like as like Eddie's like Dio, the back of his jean jacket. This was a leather jacket, but he had on the back of it Slayer, and oh my god, he was so unlikely of somebody that like I would normally be into like at that time in my life. But like he was just adorably goofy and innocent and just a little bit weird and eccentric. But like as soon as I saw Eddie, I was just like, oh yeah, that's a Tom. And there's a nostalgia for those of us that lived through these eras. And then there's also the new people that they're like, oh, wow, like long hair and a guy, like the shagginess of it and the jean jacket and leather. They're like, oh, that's kind of hot. And I'm like, yes, dear, it is. Come sit down. Let me show you a few things.
Now, I think there's a misconception. Like at face value, a lot of people were comparing Eddie to Billy just because they're both kind of. Hold on, let me set you up. Okay.
I know.
Just because at face value, they both do have some similarities, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I think personality-wise, they couldn't be more opposite, right?
Well,
so you tell me, what do you think is the difference between Eddie and Billy?
I wish I could tell you more intimately the differences, but I know, like with Eddie, like first off, like we don't really know about parental like backgrounds for him, right? But we do know his uncle took care of him, and it does very much seem like his uncle and him were close, right? So like the way that his uncle talked about him, the way his uncle searches for him, and like no, like my Eddie wouldn't do this, and like there was a respect there. Yeah. There was love, there was family, like there was a connection. And with Billy, like I feel like a lot of people love to hate him, and you know what? Like there's a lot of moments where I hate Billy.
He's very damaged.
They wanted you to, but it's very much a nature versus nurture type of situation that you're looking at. So like Eddie, he's bullied at school, but he has some good friends. He goes home to his uncle who very clearly obviously cares about him. And like when you look at Billy, so first off, a little bit of background. When I watched, yes, Beth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I was looking to let you feel that one. Go ahead.
But I was pregnant with Ollie. So this was like 3 years ago when season 3 came out. So I was already heightened emotions, but I'm watching this guy and I'm like, I want to like you, but you are just such a piece of crap, and he's racist, and he drives you up a freaking wall, and like you want to hurt him because the Duffers wrote him so specifically to get that rise out of people. But then as little things keep getting revealed, you see the interaction with him and his dad, and even his stepmom, like she stands back. She's even scared of the stepfather. And you see that there's like mental and emotional and physical abuse going on there. And this is what he's been raised in. So then you also see there's the way that he treats Lucas, and there is very blatant racism going on there. But that's also, and I'm not saying that this justifies it. I'm not saying that this is an excuse and that it's okay, but it's absolutely a crime of its time, right? In the 80s, that was a lot more prevalent than it is now, and it's still a problem now. So if you even think of that, that it's still so much of a problem now, but it was on freaking crack cocaine in the 80s. This was everywhere. and it's something that is learned, and it's something that was taught to him by his abusive father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on top, but you look underneath of that and you see that he's still so protective of Max. It's racially motivated. He's still a dick, but he is still protective as hell of that girl. And he even
that's
says,
one thing
she's
I
not my
noticed.
sister. No, she's not my sister.
Yeah.
But he will drive all the way out there together. He will start fights to protect her. And then you see as things go on when 11's in his mind, and then that confrontation at the mall where she's touching his face, and you just see his face kind of like, I'm going to get emotional. His face tightens just that little bit. And when she's saying that she was beautiful, and he just does a little bit of a nod.
Yeah.
And this is a broken boy who lost his mother. The one person that obviously, like, you see those flashbacks, and he just looked up to her and idolized her. And she was just the sun in his sky, and she left him.
Yep.
And I cannot, for the life of me, cannot fathom the thought of a mother doing something like that, especially when you show those scenes where she's, yeah, baby, like I saw, and like she seems so in love with him, and then he's calling her and she doesn't have time for him. And I just can't imagine a little boy being that broken over losing the light of his life and being left with that monster that is his father. He's very much like the second villain of season 3. That father is a horrible human being, and he created this monster of Billy, but there's still a conscience there, and you see little glimpses of it here and there. And I think that it's a, like I said, like a nature versus nurture thing. And I don't think that anybody is inherently racist. I don't think anybody is inherently necessarily evil. I think that they are created that way.
Yep.
And in the very end, that his need and desperation to be a good person made himself sacrifice himself for 11. He doesn't know 11. They've never met.
Nope.
He has no idea who she is. But he's still,
he's like the one character who has this ultimate moment of redemption, even though like leading up to that, almost, to the 10th degree, he's making all these choices that from like a superficial standpoint, you would hate him.
Yeah.
But I think you're doing yourself a disservice, the viewer, if you watch this show and you look at a character like Billy on a superficial level, because I love that the Duffer Brothers, they could have written him like your stereotypical 80s metalhead, whatever. But no, they went really, really deep with him.
So deep.
And when I went back and watched it again, he is my favorite character of season 3, just because there's so much to grab onto. And I love that the Mind Flayer took control of him. The person who's probably the most vulnerable, that's just amazing.
And that's actually something else that I've thought pretty in depth with, because you think of Will, and he's even from season 1, like, like he's the weak little mouse, right? Yeah. And I think that Billy was a weak little mouse too. And I think that that's what makes it easier for them to be the ones that are manipulated and taken control of. And I think that there is, in some sense, there's a little bit of a parallel. This is somebody who is, despite their demeanor, despite their outward appearance, they are very, very weak. And Billy was such a weak little guy. He tried to puff himself up and act like the big bad guy. But I think that he was just so sad on the inside.
Oh, hold on. I got one I want to show here.
Oh.
Stranger Queen. She says, Billy was supposed to say the N-word in season 2. The Duffer Brothers wrote that in, but Dacker Montgomery wouldn't say it. So they had to write it out. That's a really interesting little factor. Did you know that?
Oh, yes. Also, fun story. Like I said, I was pregnant with Ollie, and we hadn't picked out a name at that point. But when we went into the hospital, Dacker was my name.
Oh.
Because I loved him that much. And I was like, that name, like that is prestigious. That is a sick name. And I wanted to name him Dacker, but like when I looked at him, I was like, you're not a Dacker. And my sister was like, what about you liked Oliver for Tommy, but you decided against it. And I was like, oh, he's so little Oliver. Anyways, but a big reason for that, because he said that Dacker had mentioned that like acting, obviously, like there was a lot of things that he did and there was nuances that he wasn't even comfortable with, but he was like, it's acting and yada yada. But he said that he could not bring himself because at that moment he was supposed to be saying it to Lucas.
Right.
And he said, I know him, I like him, and I cannot disrespect him to his face by saying something like that to somebody that I care about. And I guess like the actor, and I can't remember his name right now, for Lucas, said it was okay. And he was like, no, like this is a moment, dude, I'm not going to take it personally. But Dacker, like he had that kind of upbringing that his family was like, nope, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think he made the right decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not the overall point of the show. If the show was totally racially based, then maybe, but it didn't affect, because there's so much like fat to chew on, I guess, with his character that you didn't really need. You kind of assumed it anyway that he was probably racist.
It was like nuanced kind of racism. Like it was right there underneath the bottom line. Like you could see it, but it wasn't a plot point for the whole season sort of thing. Like it was there just to kind of make you go, ooh, that's gross. But I think that also if they had done that, if they had gone that far with it, that in your face, it would have been harder to even redeem.
It could have been controversial.
Oh, absolutely. Like me hearing that, I probably would have done like one of like the pause and walk away for a while type of thing. Because I every time I can't, I hate hearing that. I hate hearing that word.
I mean, I grew up in Mississippi, so unfortunately I heard that word.
And that was
more times
thing
than I wanted to
mention with Billy, was that I'm surprised every single day of my life that I am not more like that character, because I grew up with someone who was abusive and an alcoholic and extremely racist. Like there are certain terms that the only two places I've heard of them were from my mother and in certain like obscure movies. And I've never heard those slang terms used anywhere else but from those two places. And I'm shocked every single day that I'm not like her. Because, like I said, nature versus nurture, this is something, it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you were taught. It is ingrained in you from the moment that you take your first breath. And Billy just wasn't lucky enough to miss it. I feel very personally for this character.
Even if you're taught it, you could still make the right, because I mean, I've seen so many cases of like even siblings where one sibling goes right and the other sibling goes left, and they're both taught the same exact thing. So now, one thing I wanted to Stranger Queen, I love that freaking channel name, by the way, too. Queen rocks.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
Big fan.
Now I was going to talk about Max, since we're like on characters right now. The scene with her in front of Billy's grave in season 4, that one scene made me want to go back and watch season 3, because I wanted to really, I guess, hone in on their relationship, because I didn't remember how their relationship was. And when I went back and watched season 3, I'm like, man, he is really, really a dick to his sister.
And there's some of it in season 2 as well.
Yeah.
But like
definitely.
That honesty that she brings out with that letter, and that like maybe I wanted it to happen and I wanted you to die. That honesty, and that whole letter, like there was tears. Absolute tears. Like it's her brutal. Coming to terms with those feelings. And I mean, that was a lot of emotional abuse for her as well, right? And like you see a little bit of the cracks there in season 3 at the cabin where the fight with Steve and Billy, and then she has the bat and she slams it down between his legs, and he kind of looks at her like, oh fuck, this bitch is serious. Like he's never seen her react that way, like never seen her stand up that way. But like you see little cracks in her that like, no, like I'm not just annoyed by you, like I'm scared of you. And that was her finally. Sorry.
What I found interesting about her was the feeling of regret, because I think this happens, a lot of times when somebody passes away, everything isn't wrapped up in a bow, and everything that you wanted to say to that person.
Lots of things are left unsaid.
A lot of times it's left unsaid. So I love how they explored all the regret and leaving off maybe on a bad note with her brother, and wishing that she would have had more of a chance to, I don't know, I guess just like reconnect with him. It's just heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's brutal. But I really liked Max just because she wore a Michael Myers mask when I first saw her. You knew I had to throw the H word in here, didn't you?
Damn,
you almost did it.
Fuck.
I have that.
All right,
Funko
get it
too,
out.
by the way. Yeah, I know. Yeah, just work. You know what? It's a good segue into like all the freaking homages in the freaking show, because like season 1, the Thing with the Thing poster on the wall.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But man, they really honor like Michael Myers in a big way throughout the whole franchise.
Yeah.
You can tell the Duffer Brothers that there's something there. Like they must be really big Halloween fans or something.
Well, and like not even like just with the Michael Myers mask, but like even some of the shots while they're out trick-or-treating, and then when Will goes into one of his trances with the mind flayer, like there's just some of those shots that I'm like, that's so like original Halloween, like just the way that it's going down the street, like the angles, and I don't know all the fancy names, I'm not a fucking filmmaker, but it gave you that same feeling, like just like the shot of it. And there was one actually, and I don't hear enough people talk about this, and this isn't horror, I'm just segueing far away from Halloween.
That's fine.
But so like in season 4, when Eddie is talking in the cafeteria and he's talking to Mike and Dustin, and he's saying like, the first time I saw you was in the cafeteria and you were wearing a Weird Al shirt. Okay. So they're referencing something where he was actually, like, most people like know him from a lot of his like later 90s stuff, but he was pretty big there in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
And if you go back to season 2, where Joyce is going to visit like their AV teacher or whatever, because all her magnets keep falling off of the refrigerator, right? And she goes to see him, and she's outside of the garage door, and you hear My Bologna playing.
Reality Bites.
Weird Al, which is also My Sharona, which she dances to in the convenience store in Reality Bites with Ethan Hawke, who then his daughter plays Robin in season 3 and 4. And I'm like, the Duffer Brothers, you were so
right there with you.
Incredible. A lot of people don't talk about that.
I was and am a huge Reality Bites fan. I've seen that movie so many times. I was in love with Winona Ryder in the movie. I thought,
take that
as
down.
far as like chemistry, okay, I kept that up there just a minute. Destiny.
But
I'm blaming Destiny.
I did shout it when me and John were watching it. I went, I shot him 6 times.
I shot him in the heart.
I'm like, you wouldn't understand. It's Loomis.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I want to say something about Reality Bites though. The chemistry between Ethan Hawke and Winona Ryder in that movie is still this day unmatched. Chemistry is a hard thing to pull off, I guess, in movies. But
Ethan Hawke,
I mean, if I did like
chemistry with a stick.
What's that?
Ethan Hawke could have chemistry with a stick.
Yeah, he's
phenomenal. That's when I first fell in love with him, was in Reality Bites.
Yeah,
and then he did that movie Alive with like the soccer team, and they crash, and then they start eating each other.
Yeah, they eat each other.
I watched that like twice a week for like an entire year. That's how much in love I was with Ethan Hawke. I watched.
Maybe that was your segue into horror, because they're eating each other.
Oh no, this is well after.
Yeah.
That was my segue into cannibalism. I'm just kidding.
Don't knock it till you try it.
What is it? Farmer Vincent's fritters?
I was gonna say, there's so many quotable lines in Reality Bites. You and me and $5. I've always loved that line. You, me, he's like, all we need is you, me, and $5. You know, the coffee.
The possibilities.
It amazes me that Ben Stiller freaking directed that movie, and it definitely doesn't feel like a Ben Stiller movie at all.
No.
Yeah.
So. I wonder what changed with him. I feel like something has changed since his Reality Bites times. Yeah.
You look like a doily. Okay. Sorry.
I do?
No, that's Reality Bites. Oh my God. See, I was testing.
Keep going.
And she goes out on the date with Ben Stiller and Ethan Hawke. He's like so
It's
honest.
been a long time, Lee. I
know.
was
You need to
taking
watch it.
literally, not quotedly. Keep going.
Oh. See, I do like some romantic comedies. Like Say Anything. I freaking love Say Anything. Yep. And Reality Bites. So that's
First
only
time I
two I can
watched
think
Say
of right now.
Anything, it was like 5 a.m. I was staying up all night because my friend's dad was in the hospital. And so I was staying up all night waiting to get a phone call from her. And that was just on TV. And I remember sitting there like the sun's barely coming up over the trees. And I'm just sobbing watching that movie. And then my sister got up in the morning. I was like, have you ever seen this movie? She's like, oh yeah, it's really sad. I'm like, you could have warned
brutal.
me.
I just love I can't remember her name, the redhead, those darn redheads. But she goes, Joe lies when he cries. You remember that song?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you said you were going to veer off, and here I am veering off like crazy.
I know. I'm going to have to rein you back over.
Well, one thing
I'm just trying to hold myself back a little bit. I don't want to take
every
over.
stream I try to pull in some 80s because I freaking love like those 80s comedies, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
We're talking Stranger Things. This is all 80s.
Okay, I'll stop.
So let's get
right,
back.
Okay. All right. Let me look at the next topic. Okay. So the last thing we talked about. Oh yeah, we talked about. So here's a question I wanted to ask you. Do you feel like every season is kind of an homage to a certain property? Like, for example, season 4 is obviously Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yep.
I think it.
And
so
like,
you go ahead.
We were talking already about season 3 being very like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and like I was thinking like Shivers and Slither, like and anything where like people are that like there's one mind and people keep getting taken over within the community, right? Oh, sorry, I hate hitting that thing. I'm still not used to it yet. And I don't know, like season 1 had its own specific little feel, and then that's why I lose it at season 2. I'm not really sure. Like there's a couple of moments that maybe give me certain 80s vibes. Like obviously like there's the Ghostbusters references.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters.
But it's the little references. It doesn't have an overall feel to it like the other seasons kind of do. And it's something about season 2. It just lost it. I think there's too many things going on. Isn't that the one that you're in?
What, season 2?
Yeah.
I'm in both season 1 and season 2. Oh, thank you very much.
Season 2, like you even get the middle finger,
and it's my
in
least
there.
favorite season.
Yeah. Let's boo.
You know what? Because, and you're probably going to love this scene, but the scene, Will was too much in season 2. The kid went through hell. I get that. But I just felt like the scene where at the end where you had Joyce trying, I think they're trying to pull him out,
like the exorcism
he's under the
moment.
spell, and they're talking about these moments from the past.
Your birthday.
Yeah.
I
just maybe just do Joyce, but then they kept doing it over and over, and I'm just like, okay,
Jonathan jumps in.
Yeah, let's just move on. It was just season 2 does frustrate me. It's an okay season, but I think it's my least favorite. What about you?
Ironically, that's one of the only moments that I like.
I told you. Okay. I knew you would like it.
But I am that person when I first watched season 1, like everybody was all about 11, talking about 11 and all this kind of stuff. So first, I didn't even really like 11. Season 1 was over and done, and I didn't care about it. Like I had already been to a Comic-Con before I even watched the show, and I saw like 500 11s all over the place. But Dustin, I immediately fell in love with, and Will, I don't know if it's because like, and maybe it's like a mom thing with other people in the chat or anything like that, other viewers,
maybe.
But like, I just wanted to protect him.
I can agree with that.
He was the most vulnerable and innocent and sweet and just cutest little packages of a tiny little boy. Yeah. And all I thought when I saw him was I just wanted to protect him. And I think that's a great thing about season 1 and well, all the seasons of Stranger Things is that everyone out there has a character that they can relate to, or multiple characters they can relate to. Like for me, like I see Joyce and I see the way that she turns into a absolute crazy person, but she will stop at nothing to protect her boy. Right. And she has continued to do that through every single season. And the people that she loves and cares about, like Hopper, and like she goes to fucking Russia to save him. And like you see Jonathan and the way that he's bullied and teased, but he is that cool older brother to Will. Like there's nothing that he won't do or educate him on, and music, and like their relationship is so cute. And even Steve, like he starts out as this D-bag. So even those D-bags out in the world watch and they go, oh, see how he's had the biggest arc of anyone in the entire show. I could be like him. I could be nicer. And you see the smart girls that like everybody's like, these girls, like all these guys are fighting over Nancy, and she's the smart nerdy girl. I'm the smart nerdy girl. And like people pick up on these things. And that's why I love the cast so much, because there's somebody for everyone. But Will, I latched onto immediately. So in season 2, with that whole moment, I found that moment, like, because when I see like exorcism kind of scenes in different films, sorry if you heard those noises, that was my dog. But like usually exorcism scenes, like it's always religiously based. And no matter what, that usually loses me here and there. But this was not religion based.
There was no
this
religion.
Was emotion and love based.
It was like creature based, I guess.
It was so moving, like the love that this family has for each other, and that it can overcome something that insanely powerful. Like nobody else could fight this thing off, but Will could, because he had his mom there, because he had his brother there. Like it was that connection. And I feel like it built Will's character more than because they didn't give a whole lot of chance to him in season 1. That was his character building moment in season 2. Because it showed the love that he has for his family and how close they are and how important they are to him. And that he was already long gone, but he came back just because of that moment. So you might not like it, but I found that the only redeeming.
I think it was just more about the execution. The scene itself, the idea of the scene, I think is great. I just thought it kind of lingered on. And I'm probably
it's not as bad as them locking up the facility at the end and that awful military guy. Oh,
that guy was awesome.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, whatever. I was going to talk about Steve. I'm glad you brought up Steve, because one of the strengths of this show, the writing is so good that when you go back and watch the seasons again, you might have a different opinion of any given character. Like Steve, when I first watched season 1, I thought he was just a complete D-bag the entire season. I didn't like him at all. And then when I went back and watched it again recently, I saw all those clues that, hold on, Steve's not necessarily, he's kind of more influenced by the people around him, his peers. But you could tell that there was a good guy in there wanting to get out.
See, like, I don't know. The very first moment that I get that impression is outside of the movie theater. Because his friends are doing it, and Nancy's confronting him, and he was like, well, I told them not to. And that's kind of a little bit of a hint of a moment that you go, oh, so he's not actually that much of a D-bag. But everything before that, I still, I don't want to excuse it, because he was getting with every single girl. He was still a womanizer.
Oh, he was wrong,
still banging himself around town. And he was going to do the same thing to Nancy. 100%. You can't convince me otherwise. He was going to do the same thing to Nancy. The problem is that Nancy did it. He thought Nancy did it to him first.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he was upset. But he was still just slime.
Oh, yeah.
And it was only in that moment that you saw, oh, wait, no, there's a little bit something else to him.
That was the turning point.
There was just a little nugget of, oh, maybe there's something good to this guy. And then, oh my God, that nugget snowballed into an avalanche. And he has had the greatest arc of anyone else on the show. And
he's him and Dustin are probably the most fun characters of the show.
we were just talking about it yesterday at my sister's house, that if something, like, I was mentally preparing myself for Eddie, but when I talked about Steve, because they were so tricking us. They made us think that it was going to be Steve. They made us think that there was going to be like multiple, and that we're going to lose like both of them, because like they're showing him and Nancy are getting closer together again, and she's on the outs kind of with Jonathan, and then he's talking about how he wants kids, and I'm like, don't talk about wanting kids, that means you're gonna die. It's a horror movie rule. You don't talk about wanting to have a family in the future, because that means you won't have one. And I said to my sister, I'm like, if they ever get rid of Steve, that will be the last episode I watch of Stranger Things. I will not go back. I won't. Like, I will protect him with every fiber of my being.
Well,
and I felt that
question,
way about
though.
Eddie too, very much.
The only people
Steve
that do, the only people that do die are people outside of the main core cat. What is it? 4, 5 of the main cat, maybe 6. And
about
it seems
6.
like
well, 7,
it seems like they have like
4
plot armor. Yeah, like I don't think they'll ever kill Nancy, Steve, Will, Mike, 11.
They will. Season 5.
Which one do you
season.
think?
They will.
That's true, because all bets are off, even though they're not in Scream 3. But all bets are off in in the last season. So who do you think will die? And I might have jumped
I
ahead.
don't want to say it out loud.
You don't want to say it out loud?
If I say it out loud, then I'm like, I'm making it happen. Or
you know what?
Eddie had the conversation with Dustin.
Okay, go
saying,
ahead.
you got to take care of them.
Yeah. Dustin's not dying. If I had to put Vegas money on one character that would not die, I would say Dustin.
What do the Duffers brothers want to do? They want to get an emotional response.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going past season 5.
You know what I love is that when season 1 came out, right, and there were no other seasons after it, it felt like in the show 11 was just put on this major pedestal, and all the other kids not so much. But then as the new seasons came along, it felt like they kept building all those other kids, and they kind of, in my mind, surpassed 11 in terms of likability.
I didn't even like Lucas from like season 1 through 3. Like, he was just kind of like, he was a throwaway background character. Season 4, Lucas became somebody that I was like, I want him on my side. I love Lucas. Now you have a personality. You are more than somebody that was just kind of in the background. And I don't know if that was a Duffers doing that on purpose, or they just kind of accidentally didn't give as much to Lucas as they did to other characters. Because Dustin really stole the show from season 1. He just took over. And I don't think they even knew that like Gayton was going to do that. He might
be my top 3 now. I love Dustin.
He's so wonderful. I want to squish him. I just want to hold him and like squish him and be like, you protect yourself.
No, but I'm glad you mentioned
Lucas.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Lucas, because in season 4, he's the one character that kind of went over to pretty much another class of people with the jocks. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of at a tug of war with, his, what's the name of their club?
Hellfire.
Yeah. He's kind of at odds with that. And I like that they played around with that. And then at the end, he comes back around, because I think that's really
and
relatable.
You almost see like the internal struggle too. Like, he's like, damn, like, but there's certain moments where, and I there's a little tiny part of me that likes that they threw religion stuff in there, because the religion in it, and I'm sorry for anybody who is religious in the chat. I am not a religious person. I was a religious person. Do not feel that way anymore, but they put it in an extremist kind of way in the show. Yeah. And I kind of like that narrative to show like almost like the religion mob mentality, and that Jason isn't necessarily a bad guy. He's not. He's distraught over his girlfriend being murdered. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But any other person might not have reacted that way or gone with the pitchfork kind of way against like towards Eddie and he's satanic because he likes something different than us and all of this, right? But because he had that religious background, he automatically went that way, and it's an extremist way. And I know not all religious people are that way. I'm very well aware of that. My best friend is still very, very religious, goes to church every single Sunday.
Yes.
Still buys me things with crosses on it. Like, she's very, very sweet, writes blessed on our notes to each other. But there are a lot of extremists. And I kind of like that they involved that with Jason's character, because otherwise he just would have been a D-bag, another D-bag.
It's
But
glaring that
adding
there's,
that on
extremists.
there, I'm just saying, I'm like, all he wants to do is get justice for the woman that it was his high school sweetheart, right? And
Yeah.
you can tell that he did really, really love and care for her. So all he wanted was justice. But the fact that they added in that little religious aspect kind of made it work with the times of the 80s and religious extremists. And I like that. Sorry, read Steve's thing here.
Well, hold on. I was going to say, before I read Steve's thing, I wanted to add something, because you and I actually had a conversation about this, about, for example, with religion and religious movies. What do you call, I guess you'd call them the Christian movies that are, they're in a certain box, and they're made on a certain budget, and they don't step outside in terms of their belief system. So it all feels kind of packaged and superficial and
Shoeboxed.
Yeah, it feels shoeboxed. And you've seen this. It's like every one of their movies, it's predictable. I guess that's what I'm going for.
Even from outside of the shoebox, you know that there's a shoe inside.
Exactly. And you get scared, or they get scared of approaching other religion-based movies that are controversial. And this is a controversial opinion, but I told you this. I think The Exorcist is one of the most moving religious movies I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Because what was it, even beyond religion and evil and the devil and God and all of that kind of stuff, who is it that saves everybody at the end of the day? It's not God who saves everyone.
Yeah.
It's one single man, self-sacrifice.
Yep.
And it wasn't
You got to showcase all of
necessarily.
it.
Yeah, and it wasn't in The Exorcist. I don't believe that it was even religiously motivated, him sacrificing himself. It was just selflessness of him sacrificing himself for that little girl, and that was it.
Which at the end of the day is the core of the
girl.
whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
But, and I liked that what The Exorcist did was that they made it a lot, like everything revolves around religion, but they showed you religion isn't the most important thing. At the end of the day, religion isn't what should motivate you to make good choices or whichever. It shouldn't be the one that deters you from making bad choices. I don't need to read the Bible to know that I shouldn't be raping and murdering people, but it should be your humanity that leads you to make the right choices. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it was. It made him save Reagan, and he just sacrificed himself for the good of her. Nobody else, just her. One little girl.
Couldn't have said it better. You know, they didn't veil the entire thing with religion over the top of it, and everything below that veil is, I guess, circumstantial. The story was what was important. And religion just happened to be an aspect of the story, but it wasn't the be all end all. It was about, a mother's love, giving your life to save someone. And it happened to be a priest that gives his life. Just beautifully executed. Okay, so now we're going to read Steve's
I can't
comment.
highlight your comments.
What are you talking about?
I wish that I could do what you do.
I did that on purpose.
Twin City.
Uh-oh, let me see. Twin City? Well, Nancy's shoebox has guns in it. That's a good comment.
So good. That. Perfectly executed, Twin City. Oh, I love that.
Okay. Steve, after the destruction of Hawkins in season 5,
I think they mean season 4.
Oh yeah, season 4. Being responsible, will 11 turn back time? Save everybody, sacrificing herself, ending the show at the start where the boys are playing D&D. Wow, that's a wild theory. I'll let you take that one.
So are we going to go into theories?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to take that deep dive.
Yeah.
Because I have
a
couple of different ideas here. So as far as we know, they are going into season 5 next month, right? In August. But they did have to film certain scenes for season 5 already while they were filming season 4. We already know that there is going to be a scene with Will in a harness because we've already seen behind the scene shots of this. So there is a point where he may be Vecna'd, right? Because he's wearing the harness, the same one that Sadie is wearing. But the Duffer Brothers have talked that the first couple of episodes will still take place in like 1986. And then they're going to do a time jump, which will satisfy me, because if they started it off with a time jump, I would not be cool with that. I'd be like, no, I need more information in there in between. But they have already stated that they want to have a couple of episodes that kind of cover certain things, get those T's crossed and I's dotted, and then do the time jump. I don't think that it is going to be a turn back time thing. What I do think, are you ready? Is everybody ready? So everybody is on this bandwagon that Eddie will be Cass, the Bloody Handed.
Right.
I do not think he will be Cass the Bloody Handed. I think we already have Cass the Bloody Handed. And I think it could be 2 different people. So Duffers, if you're listening, just exit out right now, because I want you to still use this if this is what you want to use.
Okay.
8. Because there has to be a different reason that they introduced us to her in season
because
2,
she was in season 2.
and then she just disappeared. What is her power? Allowing people to see something that isn't there. Also one of Vecna's powers. How did she escape the facility? We don't know how she escaped the facility. Did Henry get her out of the facility? Has she been working for him all along? During the scene where they are playing D&D and they defeat Vecna, when they defeat Vecna, when Erica does the winning roll, because the first one is 11 and they lose. So 11 can't do it. 11 cannot defeat Vecna. We've already seen this.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they roll the 20, it shows Lucas wearing the number 8 jersey.
Oh.
And I'm like, is that saying she's the one that is going to then turn on him? But no, but is she the one that is going to be the cast that then turns on him, and she's the one that defeats him?
Did they ever did she have kind of a conclusion in season 2?
Nothing. No.
Nothing.
There's the whole thing where the warehouse that they're in gets raided and they're leaving, and then she makes it look like a wall comes up, and 11's like, no, I gotta go, and she's like, come with us, and they kind of separate ways, and she's reaching out no, come with me sort of thing, and they drive off because the illusion's gonna go down, and that's the last you fucking see of her. Okay, on top of that, when she's talking to 11 on top of that building and she's trying to break through to her and help her use her powers properly, she says, think of a moment that makes you angry. What does Henry say to 11 in the facility?
Think of a moment that makes you angry?
It's almost the exact same conversation. So where did 8 learn that from? She learned it from Henry. She knew Henry. They were in the same facility. Obviously, they're all there together. But was there more of a connection? Was he the one that got her out? Has she been working for him all along? And that's why she tried to bring 11 in. That's why she tried to keep 11 there. Maybe she is helping control. Maybe 11 is actually, oh God, I keep fucking hitting that thing. 11 can make you think, see what she wants you to see. What if she's the student counselor?
Because
the student counselor who wears a clock on her necklace, who had a clock behind her.
There's a clock in season 4.
50% of her scenes.
How do you pick up all this stuff? I swear to God.
Because I'm fucked in the head. No, but wait, that's not my only theory for who Cass could be. It might not be, because I didn't even really like 8 very much. The character wasn't fleshed out enough. Maybe if they bring her back for this season, they could do more with her. Another possibility is that Will is Cass. And because we've been talking about D&D, it is not literal to what D&D is. Will might not be willingly or aware that he is being used by Vecna, right?
Right.
So he is still doing the bidding of Vecna throughout all of these seasons, and he's just not aware of it. But he's the one at the very, very end that has to turn around and defeat him. Maybe he's the one that has to kill Vecna. And there's certain things, season 1, when he goes missing and when they visit Victor Creel, Joyce says,
Right.
Victor says, he was a very sensitive boy. And Joyce says,
Yep.
he's a very sensitive boy. There's when they're sitting at the tables and they're drawing the Mind Flayer. Of course, it wasn't actually the Mind Flayer when Henry's drawing it. He's just drawing something that's in his mind. So then when he does see this big cloudy smoke thing, he makes it into the form of something that he's already drawn before. But then very like down to the image, like the posture of them, the way that they're drawing these photos, identical. He is following in his footsteps. He is being just like Henry. So is there something, maybe Will has some sort of talent or whatever, or it's just that he was there for long enough and there's this tiny little seed that is operating subconsciously in the back of his mind, which obviously we saw a little bit of in season 2, that then grows and grows. And then in season 4, we know at the end of season 4, he touches the back of his neck. He's got the goosebumpies. So he's still connected. And we know that
Will ends up saving the day in season 5.
That's what
Is
I
that a
think. I
possibility?
think that he will be the Cass, that he's not undead. He's not a vampire, but he is being used by Vecna. And then in the end turns to save everyone.
Because
which
we
is
don't
very
want to
much
see
the
11
Cass
save the
story.
day yet again. Right?
No, I don't think she will. I don't think she can do it.
Yeah.
I think that
Hey, who's the lost sister?
started. That's 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They
do
called each
agree
other
that-
sister.
I do agree that she's underrated in that we still don't know everything, not really not that much about her. And I would welcome her because Stranger Things does have a talent for bringing in new characters every season or reaching back
And
maybe
then
to old
fucking
characters.
killing them.
Yeah.
Even
So-
though, I'm sorry, you had Argyle right there. He was standing there, right there, talking about pineapple on pizza, which, by the way, is a Canadian Ontario thing. Was created
I
an
believe it.
hour away from me. But this guy was standing right there, and you said, nah, keep him. Let him talk in the forest to some plants. Knock out Eddie. Nobody's going to like that guy. That guy, don't worry about that little guy.
Who said knock out Eddie?
The Duffers, obviously.
Oh,
They
that's
chose
right. Yeah,
to
because they
save.
killed him.
They introduced Argyle in the same season, and they kept him.
I wonder if they knew how big Eddie would be.
They didn't.
You know? Yeah. I don't think so.
Joe had no idea how big Eddie would be,
Yeah.
but he appealed to everyone. But
Well, I mean,
also another thing. Sorry, I'm going back to
No. Go ahead.
whole Will thing. God, now you distracted me.
Well, while you're thinking of it, I was gonna say, like Game of Thrones, George R. Martin, he was known for killing characters that you absolutely loved, like
Sean
Robb
Bean.
Stark. Huh?
Sean Bean.
Yeah, exactly.
Still not okay
my
over
God.
that.
The first season, he kills the main character of the show. That takes balls.
That guy needs a new agent.
I think there's a YouTube video of just Sean Bean getting killed over and over and over again.
There's a lot of those mashups on YouTube. It's like
Yep.
20-second clips of just him dying over and over and over and over again for like
And
5
Steve
minutes.
Buscemi. Steve Buscemi gets killed and everything too.
Most of the time he deserves it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
in a wood chipper. I'm a wood chipper.
Mm-hmm.
That's an SNL reference, to Fargo reference.
Yeah.
If you
Fargo's
watched,
awesome.
you know. Crap, what was I going to say? It was something else about Will, and it was from very, very early on. Oh, so like we're talking end of season 1, she closes the portal, right? Like the
Right.
gate. Season 2, they get the Mind Flayer out, closes the gate. This huge giant gate. She closes it. Season 3, the Mind Flayer still gets out and gets Billy. Why is that happening? Season 4, we know that now they're opening because Vecna is killing people, and that's why they're opening in those spots.
Yeah.
But why, after her closing them, it went 30 years. at least 30 years of Vecna not being able to pass through, the Mind Flayer in this cloud not being able to pass through. They were there, they were existing over there. He was becoming the Vecna situation that we know now. But there was no crossing that realm. It changed because in like 1984, she opened another one. And then Will got taken in. And then because of Will being connected, that's how it started happening again in season 2. That's how things happen in season 3. It's because of Will. And I think that in season 4, Will's going to go, because he keeps saying, like, he's not going to stop until he kills all of us. He's not going to stop until he kills everyone. And I think that he's going to realize at the end, and it's going to be, I'm going to go Buffy reference here for anybody who watched Buffy. So is it the end of season 6 or the end of season 7? Anyway, it's with Dawn and their gate, right? For glory. And Buffy realizes that, wait, no, you're the key. So the only thing that can close this portal is you, because it's your blood. But wait, they made you out of me. We have the same blood. I can jump into this and close it as well. And you don't have to die. I can sacrifice myself because it just needs the blood.
I remember that.
And Will is going to realize that I am just as much of a connection. I think that 11 is going to be trying to close this thing, this now gaping giant hole that's in Hawkins. And everything's going to continue to spill out. Vecna's killing everyone. Maybe Mike dies. And 11 is just, I got nothing left.
She's done.
I've watched Mike die. And Will realizes, wait a minute. This keeps happening year after year after year. Like, all of this stuff keeps happening because I'm still here. I am still his connection. And obviously we can't get him out of me. And he's already lost Mike. And maybe he sacrifices himself to close it. Because as long as he's gone, the other side, anybody in the Upside Down, all of these bad creatures, bad things, won't be able to continue opening it.
You're probably right.
Is it season 5 of Buffy?
You're an encyclopedia of freaking Stranger Things. Jesus.
And another thing too, there's been some speculation, and there was, when I was rewatching this last time, after I finished watching volume 1, I started watching from season 1 again, all the way through. To tide me over until volume 2 came out, because I was losing my goddamn mind. First I was freaking out, worrying about Eddie. But I started watching again, and when Will is on the bike and sees the thing in the street, and everybody's like, oh, like it's a demogorgon. No, if you pause it, you slow that down, it's not a demogorgon head. You see the side profile of it. It's a face. I think that's
I'll have to go back and look at it.
Because the Duffers even said that when they were proposing this show, they already knew that they were going to bring Vecna in at some point, because they knew that there was going to have this touch to the D&D world. So they knew of a character, Vecna. And I think that's why it doesn't look like Vecna now, because they hadn't created Vecna necessarily yet. They hadn't done the costume. There had to been design and work and all of that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But that creature that's in the road, that's not a demogorgon. The posture is not the same. It's much more man-like. And when he does that moment, there's a gong of a clock. You hear the Vecna gong of the clock when Will steers off into the road. You hear that noise. Because when they went to the studios and were proposing the show, they already said, because they were like, we don't just want like one season out of you guys. Like we want to know something, like where you're going to go in the future. So they laid out different things that they wanted to include. Like they didn't have scripts for season 2, season 3, season 4, but they were like, this is what we want to bring in. This is what we want to bring in. Oh, there's this Vecna character. He's the big, big bad sort of thing. So they knew that from the very beginning, and they dropped those little things throughout. When Barb gets taken, you hear the clock.
Yep.
It wasn't a demogorgon behind Barb.
Thank God they did that, you know?
When Will gets taken, so like I said, like in the street, that doesn't look like a demogorgon. When he's in that little shed, what happens to the lock on the door? It lifts up and slides over. Demogorgons don't have like the kinetic powers that anybody else has. They definitely don't have what Vecna has. All they are.
So you think Vecna did that?
It was Vecna that took him in the first place.
Oh wow. You know, see, I can kind of compare Vecna to like Voldemort in Harry Potter. I don't think you said you've watched Harry Potter, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Well,
Nope.
Voldemort is this main villain of the entire
With no
saga.
nose. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, you get little clues in each movie along the way, but they don't fully show the guy until I think Goblet of Fire, and that's kind of what they're doing here. If you believe that, is you go back. There's little clues of Vecna along the way,
breadcrumbs
until you finally reveal him.
Yeah.
And
100%.
you know what?
I think that the Duffers are that smart.
Yeah, I think Vecna's a great. He's a big reason why season 4 was so good, is because he is a damn good villain. You know?
Oh, so good.
And he feels more human-like. He's not like Black Smoke, I guess, like the Flare is, the Mind Flayer.
Mm-hmm.
I never did like the Mind Flayer. Are you a fan of the Mind Flayer?
I really like the concept of the Mind Flayer, and I think in like season 3, when all of its little seedlings that it's created, they all start coming together and start building into like a tactile version of the Mind Flayer. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
All slimy and gross, and like it can like get
it's like a
through
stepping stone.
door grates. It's just like it's like a mix of the creature from The Relic. Has anybody else watched The Relic? I loved that movie growing up.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So good. But like a mixture of the creature from The Relic and the Blob, like the 80s version, the Blob.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in
I haven't
between.
seen the
And
80s version yet.
I thought that it was such a great character design, like villain creature design. But I still think wherever they hit, how they landed on season 4 is better than all of the other seasons before it.
It's the best season.
For me, it goes season 4, season 3, season 1, season 2. Season 3 is above season 1 for me.
I'll let the chat answer this too, but I go season 4, 1, 3, 2. That's
of
what
course
I go.
you would.
But 1 and 3
because you're not a Billy Stan. I'm a Billy Stan.
But I do love Billy as a character. I think he's very, very interesting.
I don't think you love him the same way I do.
Maybe season 3 is a little bit better than 1, because when I did go back and watch 1, I love the whole setup of the upside down. I think I liked Hopper the most.
And wait,
in season
you get
1.
Robin.
Yeah, I mean,
finally get Robin. Robin is
stuff.
Such a huge part of it, and which is like, I love.
Wait,
Maya
which
Hawke.
one's Robin? Are you talking about season 1?
No, this is season 3. Maya Hawke, Robin.
Oh
she
God,
works with
yes,
Steve at the
yes,
ice
yes.
cream
I love
shop.
her. Yes,
and
she's great.
I love.
Great.
You're really getting into the friendship of Steve and Dustin at that point. Like when he sees him and he's back for the summer, and they do like the handshake and the lightsaber. Ah!
Oh man, look at the chat. They got like Holly Klein says 3412. Nuclear Fusion says 4312.
Hey, don't Twin Cities the same as me? 4312.
There you
Beth,
go.
4312.
Yeah. Carly agrees with my ranking. Thank you,
we
Carly.
need Beth to switch 1 and 3. Come on,
you can do it, Beth.
Be a Billy Stan with me, Beth.
Hey, what do you think about Beth's theory there? I wonder if all the numbers will have to come together to defeat.
That was something that people were kind of talking about before Volume 2 came out. So they were talking about like the first roll is an 11, and obviously 11 doesn't get the job done.
Are they going to explore any of the other numbers anyway?
With 8 plus 1
equals 9.
All of those combined will calculate to 20, which is what defeats Vecna. But I'm like, that's kind of a convenience thing, you having to include 1 in his own defeat number calculation, right? Because everyone else is dead. Everyone else from the facility, all of those kids, they're gone. So there was at one point, some people were theorizing that Eddie was 10, and I'm like, yeah, no, that, because they're like, well, you didn't see his eyes. You didn't see his eyes when Brenner lifts him up. And I'm like, his arm was at like a 90-degree angle and backwards. That boy was twisted and broken all over. He's gone.
That the violence in season 4, man, when they were not screwing around with, like, when Vecna would take over and freaking breaking their bones and their eyes popped out.
And that was another one
Crazy
too.
stuff.
People were theorizing that Henry's little sister is Karen.
Yeah.
Like Mike and Nancy's mom. And they're like, well, you didn't see her eyes. I'm like, you saw her broken, tiny little like 6-year-old body. And I'm sorry, she still looks older than what like Vecna would be, sort of thing. Like the timelines aren't making no adding up here. So I'm not cool with that whole ideal. I still think we are going to have a Cass character, because Cass the Bloody Handed is a huge storyline that has to go with the story of Vecna. They go hand in fucking hand. That's why they even mention Cass in that episode when they're playing with Eddie, and they
mention
Erica
Cass
in.
Oh man, I don't even remember that.
They're like, and he's like, oh no, it can't be Vecna. Cass killed Vecna, and Eddie's like, oh, you know, and he slams down the little character of Vecna, right? But they mention Cass. No, he's already dead. Cass took him out. So they've already mentioned him. They know that he is a pivotal character in the world of D&D. But then I also wonder about the painting that Will did, where there's this 3-headed dragon. Now, there is a 3-headed dragon in the world of
D&D?
Of D&D. However, it's not one of the big bads. It's somewhere below Vecna in like terms of like being powerful. But there is one that is above. It's 1-headed dragon. Crap.
Did you ever play D&D when you were a kid?
No, but 2 of really good friends of mine that I used to smoke pot with were huge into D&D. So as I was like stoned and eating chips over in the corner, they were all playing D&D and continuing games. And are you bringing me a monitor? Hello?
What happened?
I swear I heard the door open.
It's Vecna.
I'm sorry. Oh, maybe.
Do you see tentacles coming out of the side of your
yeah, everybody watch out.
Hey, can I brag a little bit?
Absolutely.
Did
you play
actually
D&D?
You know, no, I never played D&D, but Hawkins Laboratory. Every time I probably went about 10 different, I had like 10 different calls for extras, and I was only in 2 of the scenes. Okay. So that sometimes you can go and you never make it to a scene, but every time I went, I had to report to Hawkins Laboratory. So I literally had to, so every time I watched the show, I look at those hallways and I'm like, I was there. I literally walked through all those hallways back and forth, walked outside. And so it's kind of cool because I know exactly where that is. I know that all the restaurants that are around it that you'll never see on the. So I just wanted to brag about
that. Just very, very quickly, it moved. Twin City
moved?
Again. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a little bit of an eye on the chat. Twin City had made a comment that happened to Max too, though, and she is alive. So I'm not sure if he's referring to, or sorry, they. I'm not sure if you're a she or a he. Twin City.
Or they.
If they're referring to 10 being dead and Brenner picking them up, or if they are referring to the little sister of Henry. The thing is with the 10 thing is that then there was people that came afterwards. So if you look at 10 and the younger sister, is that it's a one-on-one basis. So each person that is killed by Henry, Vecna, whichever name you want to give that person, they work on a one person at a time basis. Like they don't just wipe out an entire room simultaneously, right? Like It's like boom, 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 right? So when he's even like Victor's talking about it, and then later on Henry is talking about it. Victor is saying that he's in this other place. When I came back, my kids were gone. But then Henry's describing it like, I took care of my mom, then I got my sister. But as I was working on my dad, I ran out of juice. And that's, I passed out. And then he goes into a coma. So no, he had already finished with the sister and moved on to the dad. Same thing with 10. So I don't know if that
was Henry completely taken over, or is there like still some Henry in there?
No, Henry was already that way. Henry was taking out bunnies, exploring their power.
Oh, when he was just a kid?
Yeah. There's that scene where he's torturing a bunny rabbit in the backyard and like basically like filleting it and then like breaking all of its bones, sort of thing. Like it goes snap, snap, snap. And it's a tiny little rabbit on a string.
Why don't I remember that? That's freaking crazy.
He was already crazy. He was sociopathic. and he realized that he had all these powers, and he was obsessed with spiders, and he was collecting them in different areas of the house and stuff like that. And he created his own altar upstairs so that he could practice doing these things to his parents and torturing his parents with these visions, because he knew what he could do. And he was practicing on animals, lifting them and breaking all of their bones, and then finally just executed it on his family. Henry's there. All of Henry is just fucking evil.
Hey, shout out to Dan. Dan's one of the, like, when I go to like press screenings, I met Dan at a couple of press screenings ago, and he's just this really nice guy. And I see him at all my press screenings, and I want to say hello
It's
to Dan.
Daniel.
Yeah. Daniel rocks.
Love the name Daniel. My Ollie is an Ollie Daniel.
Oh, look at that.
We're a big fan of the name.
My son's middle name is Darian, but he never goes by that. But I think that's a really cool name. And we got it from a TV show called Time Tracks
Sailor Moon?
from the 80s or from the 90s. What's that?
Sailor Moon. I think of Prince Darian from Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Well, no, he's
I was
named
a
after
huge
Darian
Sailor Moon
Lambert.
fan.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Side note, before we continue on with this, we were talking about
Right.
Daniel Johns yesterday.
Daniel Johns?
We were talking about him yesterday.
What'd you
John started playing, he linked into their speakers, because we just listen to music at the house. Sometimes we play Name That Tune.
Yeah.
And John started playing a couple of songs, and on came Silverchair. And I was just like, bitch, please, I know this. And then me and my sister's husband started talking about it. And I was saying, no, like, and my buddy Lee is obsessed with this guy. He talks about him all the time. And apparently he's still making music. And I think he has a new album or new songs out. And he was like, no way, really? I was like, yeah, you should look it up. So there you go.
That's so cool. I have been obsessed with his new album. And
they have touched people over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Touched people. And they were 15 then. Like, insane.
Oh, I know. No. Freaking, like, amazing albums before they had a greatest hits album by the time they were 21.
What?
Isn't that crazy? And I gotta recommend this song from one of Daniel John's, not his latest album, but the one before that, called Preach. Oh my God, it's so good. Like that guy's a musical genius. And we're just not ready.
No, insanely talented. Like, he's like a musical savant.
Yeah.
Like, to be that insanely talented from that early of an age is almost unheard of.
And did you know that he doesn't have a computer? He doesn't do anything digitally. He does everything analog. So look at me. I'm geeking out.
I know. You're such a nerd.
I know I am. Let's do let me see. Hold on. Oh, Beth, she says, can we talk about how awesome Robert Englund was in season 4? There you go.
Okay. So mad at Robert.
Uh-oh.
I am irate with Mr. Englund. It had been about 8 hours since since like the season had dropped. So I had to watch like day by day. I can only watch one episode a day. I have to watch after my kids go to sleep. And about 8 hours after the first volume had dropped on Netflix, Mr. Robert Englund drops a photo of himself, and he's wearing a hat that like mentions something about Hawkins or whatever, and it says something about like the cat's out of the bag or something along those lines. And I'm just scrolling down. I'm like, oh, Robert. I look at the picture. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And I'm like, the cat's out of the bag. What does he mean? I look back at the photo, and it says something. It obviously made me go, he's in Stranger Things. What happened? Like another 8 hours later, when I got to watch the next episode, which was like episode 4 or something like that, there he was. And I was like, I almost made it. To finish.
I made it. When
I didn't get the surprise.
I was like, oh my God, Robert Englund is in this.
No,
and I got to witness it in real time.
It was such a nice, like, hello, Clarice kind of moment, right?
Like,
so
it was
Silence
great.
of the Lambs. It was perfect.
I mean, that freaking hallway looks exactly like freaking Silence.
But I will never forget that. Forgive that moment that was taken from me. That moment of just the back of his head and hearing his voice and going, that's Robert. I'm so mad that I'll never get that experience because I knew beforehand.
Yeah.
No,
Carly
I'm
says,
mad.
rip his
I'm
eyes.
madly. Yeah. R.I.P.
Poor guy. He pulled a Jamie Lee Curtis pretty much because I got all bent out of shape because I
Stop
think it's
bringing
just
her
old.
up.
these older celebrities, they get on their social media and they freaking spoil the movie because she dropped a spoiler for for Halloween Kills.
Mm-hmm.
And I went nuts and people gave me crap about it. Like,
I
why do
wouldn't
you
know
even
because
care?
she has me blocked.
I know. Hey, that should be a badge of honor.
Yeah, it
Jamie
is.
Lee Curtis
I'm going to
blocked
put
you.
it on a shirt.
Yeah. Hey, Sylvester Stallone liked one of my posts on his Instagram today. I pulled up my phone and I'm looking through my Instagram and I saw official Sylvester Stallone liked my comment. And I
got a like from Joseph Quinn on TikTok. However,
Stop it.
No. It's Joseph Quinn, a fish cull. The end of it's not even spelled properly, and it's got like
official.
So many followers, and I'm like, you dumb bitches. Do you know how to spell official? That's obviously not him. 1 week later, now he actually does have one, and it's verified. Everybody, Joseph motherfucking Quinn is on TikTok. It is verified, so look for the blue check mark. It's run by his like media team, so it's not him on there. But I mean, like if you like slide in there and make some good videos, maybe it'll get back to him. That's my plan, anyways.
Do you think Joseph Quinn's going to have like this major career now, or do you think this is a flash in the pan?
This is it. I feel like it's very much like and I hate to go back to him, but a Heath Ledger moment. I feel like it's going to be kind of like his 10 Things I Hate About You. That gets the buzz going, that gets people talking about him. And then at some point, he is going to get a couple of roles. He's going to get his Dark Knight or his Brokeback Mountain, where like it's like a very serious, dramatic role, or he's going to get like a very, very like method role, submersive method.
Yeah, he needs to take a real strong role that he can sink his teeth into, because if he does an MCU movie next, I'm just going to freaking...
I don't think I can forgive him if he does that. If he goes DC,
maybe. If he goes DC, I'll give him a chance. But if he goes MCU,
right?
No.
Also, segue. Did you see what happened to Joseph Quinn recently?
I follow him like by the minute.
Oh yeah, you're inside of his trousers. Okay,
he's not Daniel Johns. Okay,
he got to meet Metallica.
I saw it. Yeah.
And play Master of Puppets with Metallica.
Yeah. How cool is that?
And they gave him a guitar. A replica of the same guitar, and they all signed it.
I know. That's freaking cool.
I like just like the little like it was like a little kid moment on his face.
He's got the chops too, you know.
Oh my god!
Watching him play,
he was like the down picking or whatever they call it. Like that's not something that like you can just like
that ain't an easy song to play on the guitar. So
no.
I'm wondering if he had a long history of. You probably know this.
He did. He used to be able to play. So when they suggested that and they were like, well, we can get a double and all this, he was like, no, I'm gonna do that. So there's the first part, right up until like there's like a little bit of that like hook is all him. But then there's some of like the really close up scenes of his hands when it picks up into like the like it I want to call it hook crescendo, like it the build up sort of thing. It gets really complicated, and then they brought in a double, but he does the entire beginning of that.
That's freaking cool. Yeah, because they brought in Robert.
Kind of makes him even hotter. And I'm like, why are you like 9 years younger than me? Because I feel really icky for the things I want to do to him.
You are icky. Hey, Destiny really says everything he's been in that I've seen so far has been great. Dickinson.
I haven't gotten around to that, but I've heard that there's some racy scenes there too, Destiny. Can you let me know episode?
Oh, Destiny knows. I guarantee
like screen time, like timestamp.
The
know, girl.
39 minutes, 17 seconds.
She's got me. My Destiny. Yeah. She's got my back.
She's got you. Holy crap. Can you believe it's almost been 2 hours?
Yes.
I was all nervous too, because I was like, this is Lindsay's big comeback. And, and I'm hoping that we could, but I just, you know what? But this I think the chat helps too. But plus,
I mean, you're Stranger Things.
Your freaking brain with Stranger Things. I just freaking let you go. Jesus, I cut the leash. You just went.
Yeah. It's an unhealthy obsession. Like,
Yeah.
I feel so bad for John too, watching that final episode of season 4.
Yeah.
Like, I had
take this
the
shit so
pillow in
seriously.
front of my face. I
Mhm.
was screaming into the pillow, sobbing. I cried my eyelashes off.
Yeah.
And these are not like the ones that you glue on like daily. They're the ones that you put on and they last for a week and a half. I cried them off. That's how hard I was crying. My eyes were
Jesus.
burning. I was crying so hard. And as I was trying to go to sleep afterwards, I was sobbing into my pillow, like listening to like my no sleep podcast on like my mind band headband thing. Still crying, blowing my nose, trying to roll over.
People
and get
take
comfortable.
this show so seriously. You know, like I think 20 years from now, it's going to be, you know, and those kids are going to be grown. It's still going to be just as big, you know.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine if season 5, that like they got to stick the landing. Season 5 needs to really be amazing. Don't you agree?
What they need to do is they need to call me.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I need to consult on this and say, okay, look, this is what your audience is going to expect. I can do all the research because I see all of it. And I can tell you, I'll just be like, okay, this is what they think is going to happen. Like these are the numerous theories. Let's satisfy them with something that's still going to surprise them, but is going to cover all the bases, not creating somebody new. Let's stop. Because and that was a thing that I thought with Eddie. I was like, they keep doing that every single season. They give us somebody and we have to watch them die. Like they give us somebody that we fall in love with and we have to watch them die. Can we stop doing that? And I thought, I was like, the Duffers are like, they've got to realize that they're following this pattern. They've got to realize that they can't do it. They can lead us up to it and make us think that this is going to happen with Eddie and be like, haha, tricked you guys. Like, I bet you thought it was going to be Eddie.
I know it's
But then
almost
they
as good as
still
Breaking
fucking
Bad.
did it. Oh God, fuck Breaking Bad. One of the worst shows ever.
I've waited 2 hours to say
It's just
that.
a show, people.
See, I put Dave Vanderhoff's comment on here. It's just a show, people. So I'm
Dave?
putting Dave on the spot because Dave, I guarantee you have a show that you are just as passionate about as
No, it's
some
cool.
people are
It's fine. Dave, meet me out behind the bleachers after school.
There you go.
I'll show you it's just a show, bro.
Some people are like that with
Tom
what's that
went to
show?
Motor
The
City
Wire?
Nightmares today. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Tom went
You
to
read
Motor
some
City
comments. Go ahead.
Nightmares. That's like right here. That's so close to me.
No,
Motor
Dave,
City
you're
Nightmares?
no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about TV, Dave. I'm not talking about movies. Okay,
Sorry. I need to.
that's okay. We need to wrap it up.
No, I just saw that it was like disappearing on the inside of my mouth. So every single time I moved, it looked like I was wearing like a 2-tone lipstick.
Oh yeah, you had lipstick on your forehead. I didn't want to tell you.
What?
It crawled its way
joking,
up.
Whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll make it a new look.
Lindsay, are you on TikTok? Destiny's asking.
I am Destiny. It's
There you go.
the same freaking name. I think I'm like It's Mother Mayhem on there.
Yeah.
You can find me on the Tickety Talkety.
I think we covered 20% of what we wanted to cover today.
Yeah, like do I
I
need
knew that was going to happen. Actually, we covered a lot. We got all the
peekaboo.
broad strokes. Yeah.
We ranked. I was talking about the Duffers, the writing, favorite characters, and then our least liked. So like we were already kind of even talking about like I really didn't
we
like
kind of touched
Lucas in the beginning.
on that. Yep.
Didn't like Steve in the beginning. They've grown on me. Still not a huge fan of Jonathan though.
No,
I don't know why, like,
I was
he's-
going to bring up Jonathan like way early in that because I was going to say,
He's super
it's-
cute with Will.
but it
other than
seems
that,
like,
I'm like,
they
you're dead.
I think they wanted more for Jonathan when the show started.
Yeah.
And it seems like the fans didn't like, he just was there. He didn't really
Yeah.
stand out like any of the other characters. So I bet they went in and rewrote some things because he's good, but he's just kind of blah. I mean,
They did
chat, what do you
not
guys
give
think?
him enough in season 4 compared to what they have given him in previous 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And while the same could be said for Will, what they did give Will, the few little bits that they gave Will, were impactful as fuck
Oh,
in
yeah.
season 4.
Big time.
And the one scene that they gave to Jonathan that made you be like, oh, right, this is why I like Jonathan again, is the conversation with Will, where he's telling him, I'll love you no matter what.
He has a couple nice shining moments throughout, but he doesn't stand out like
That was mostly fucking it. Like, other than that,
he
like, a lot of his stuff is just kind of like, is he supposed to be comedic value now, like being stoned all the time?
And I
like,
think that's why they pulled
from
Nancy
Jonathan.
away from him. You know, because Nancy's going back to Steve now.
I hope so. I want them to have those six babies. Oh God, I would
they're
have 6
baiting that
babies
big
with
time.
Steve.
Yeah, 7 babies.
We'll see. I'm getting old, so I might not make that many.
Our last thing we're going to do here, we'll do another random fact by Stranger Queen, because she is a freaking. She
we'll
probably likes the show as much as you do. Go ahead.
Well, it's very likely. I mean,
you read it. You read it.
Random fact. It was originally supposed to be Lonnie Byers that saves Jonathan and Nancy at the end of season 1 because Steve was originally supposed to die. Correct. They did not expect for them to like Steve as much as they did. And they did. They already had it written that Steve was going to die. But then they started to fall in love with them. And then after season 1, they were happy that they had rewritten that point because the audiences had already fallen in love with Steve so much. They were like,
so Steve was supposed to die in season 1?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a throwaway character.
That's crazy.
He was not supposed to have that major arc that like we have seen. They gave that to him because they were like, hey, no, we kind of really like this kid. Because before that, he wasn't even like an actor. He wasn't famous or anything like that. He was a waiter.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
he was a waiter?
He was working a shift, like waiting tables when he got the phone call that he got this role in Stranger Things. And it had been like on a whim that he was like, you know what, like, I think I can do this, and sent in like a video like audition. Yeah. And he got it. And I was like, it was the fucking hair.
His hair is literally like this. Is like it's above my screen.
Like the movement.
There are civilizations living inside his hair.
He is the male version of fucking Heather Locklear.
No.
Yes.
No.
Beautiful. Kind of mean looking, like somebody that you wouldn't necessarily approach in public because they are so pretty and they have that like a resting bitch face, and their hair is so magnificent that it looks like it was
highly
woven by
approachable.
gods.
He's got the nice guy look to him. Like I could walk up to him and say, hey, what's up, man? You know, you don't think so?
Yeah, you would approach anybody though. You're weird.
I am weird.
I wouldn't approach him. I'd be like, no, that guy is pretty. He has prettier hair than me. I can't talk to him.
Guy's pretty. I'm not going to approach him.
Yeah. When you're self-conscious, you aim down.
I guess so.
That's how you do things.
No, you got to aim up, Lindsay. Always aim up. Okay. Shoot for the stars. I give you a like, I remember when back in you're going to make fun of my age, but when I was about 20. No, actually I was probably like 19.
1852 for anybody who's paying attention.
I went to this nightclub. We used to go to this nightclub. It was called Thirsties. The nightclub was called Thirsties. And there was this, like, Heather Locklear was on the dance floor, okay? Heather Locklear was on the dance floor. I'm with a group of guys. They're all scared shitless. And I'm like, I'm not scared. I just freaking walked right up to her. Hey, you want to dance? Yeah, let's dance. Next thing you know, I'm just freaking dancing with Heather Locklear. You know? I don't care. Top that story. Go ahead. What is that? It's like one of those bobbleheads.
If I got to meet Heather Locklear, I wish that it would have been during the Tommy Lee era.
Yeah.
I totally would have gone for a threesome. Totally.
On that note.
Yeah. Are we going to go to the funnies now? I've sent you so many.
I know. I didn't. See, the thing is with this freaking StreamYard, I don't know how to do funnies. Like, I don't know how to pull them up.
God damn it, Lee.
I know. You know what?
Did we? But I only saw like one super chat. We got like
we got one super chat,
right? Okay, just making sure because I didn't want to miss anything else.
They were mesmerized by your knowledge of Stranger Things that they forgot to give us money. So it happens.
No, nobody just wants to give.
I know nobody wants to give me money. Give me money, people. Okay. Hey,
Lindsay's
I'll tell you what.
Jealous of the hair. I am. It's true.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't
Next
be
time
jealous
you
of
come
that?
on, I will have figured out how to do the funnies. Okay, and we'll have a whole bunch of funnies, and then we could do that. All right.
I'm not going to believe you. No.
You can believe
But
me.
it's fine. It's okay. Everything's fine. I only sent you like 30 incredible ones.
Well, I'll save them for next. I have like all of them right here on my phone. So
Yeah, I
you
know.
go.
I sent them all
hey,
to
do you want to make? Hey, do we want to make like an announcement?
Are we going to do an announcement?
Do you want to?
Should it be worth it? Let's ask the chat. See if they want an announcement.
Guys, do you want an announcement? Oh, here's some
Oh
more.
my gosh.
This is
Eddie, this is for you.
That's
Chrissy, this one's for you.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Very nice.
not
Thank
gonna
you
mimic
so
the whole
much,
thing.
Destiny. Thank you so much, Steve. We'll
Aw,
go
you
back and
guys are
forth.
so
Steve,
sweet.
Destiny. Steve, Destiny. All right. Okay.
Go buy yourself a burger that'll clog your arteries tomorrow.
Okay, so I guess we'll give an announcement.
Pregnant? Lee is not pregnant. No.
How do you know? I might be pregnant.
You're way too old to get pregnant at this point.
Yeah. I stopped being able to get pregnant like 30 years ago.
Steve could have fixed Billy. I agree. I'm there. Don't cream your
Yeah.
pants.
Those two needed to hook up.
Am I dreaming, or is that you, Harrington? Yeah, it's me. Don't cream your pants. Oh God.
I don't think they want an announcement.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they're not ready.
Mm-hmm. He's fertile. Gory thinks that you're fertile.
Who, me?
Apparently, I hope so.
Maybe a little bit. I'll make the announcement.
Are we?
Lynn and
Okay.
we're gonna start a podcast, and Lindsay came up with the name of it, and the name of it is, go ahead.
Dedicated to you. But it's not just like dedicated, it's dead, DEAD. So that it can incorporate, because a big thing, obviously, anybody who's been here for 2 minutes knows is very important for Lee, is that music is just as important to him as it is to
Yes.
me, as horror movies are. So it's kind of incorporating both of them together. And we will be talking about music and movies, horror, everything in between, what we've been watching. We are going to have something that will be called horror homework. So where
Yep.
we will pick a movie, probably like bi-weekly basis, where we challenge the other one to watch, and that's your horror homework. So you as the audience will be able to also watch them over the next week, come back so that we can all kind of talk about it together and our thoughts, but you'll be able to bring yourself up to date by watching it. And then we will have a segment where it is dedicated to a specific
Halloween.
listener. You fucker. No, not Halloween. No Halloween. No,
There will
and
be
then.
no Halloween in this podcast
Yeah.
whatsoever.
And
if Lindsay has anything to
we
do with it.
will it'll be dedicated to one of our listeners, and they get to pick a topic or a music that they want us to listen to, or a genre of a movie that they want us to talk about. Like absolutely anything will go. And yeah, that'll be like on a bi-weekly, we're hoping, kind of basis come September. I think we're aiming for.
There you go. And Steve says patrons get it early. I like that idea. That's a good idea.
That was something that we've been rolling around on the Patreon kind of realm, and that the especially the dedicated to you will be like a Patreon exclusive. So every podcast that we do, it'll be somebody who is a Patreon that gets to choose a full segment for.
Do you
every
like
episode.
synthwave?
Not a huge fan. That kind of falls into my realm of, like, I call it chick trance. And it's something my brother-in-law listens to a lot of that kind of stuff. And I'm I'll take the zero.
Obsessed with it lately. My son, he sent me like this playlist, and it was all like synthwave. It's so like when I go for my runs, I put it on. Oh my God, it's so good. And there's one, Bethel, like this. There's one, it's got Reese from the Terminator. You know, the famous scene where he goes, and he will not stop ever until you are dead. That's in one of the songs, and it's
But wait,
so freaking cool.
if Beth likes it, I'll give it a chance because Beth has excellent, like superb.
Beth is the stamp
taste.
of approval.
She really is, though. Like, I would trust her. Like, she could tell me, like, no, there's no sharp rocks at the bottom of this waterfall, and I'd be like, bring it on.
Most likely, bring it on. Nobody's gonna get that except us.
There will be people that Beth will get it.
Yeah,
I bet you Beth will get it because she's like an encyclopedia of movie knowledge too.
Yeah. Is that a waterfall up ahead? Bring it on. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up. This was fun, Lindsay.
We did pretty
really
good.
fun.
Did I go like on too long of tangents? Because I get very
way
passionate.
too long.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you totally.
You can
screwed
delete
up.
it later.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Right after this. Okay.
Robert, it's not like it will be a podcast just because we want to be available on like multiple platforms for you guys. But there will be a video option of it as well. I do want to still record. But sometimes we do get distracted by chats, right? So we want to keep a podcast kind of flowing.
It'll probably be like this. It'll be a StreamYard type thing. And we'll pre-record it. And then we'll put it.
And like Patreon will just get a view of it early. And then probably like right before the next episode, then it'll be uploaded on like YouTube or whatever. But we're hoping to at some point like bring it to like Spotify and that sort of things for people who just want to listen.
That's my goal.
Yeah. But those that want to watch it and see our faces immediately upon like upload, they will be encouraged, not demanded to, but encouraged to go over to the Patreon route because I'm just not in the YouTube world anymore, kids.
Hey, Beth's got one question here, and Destiny backed it up. What would be your Vecna song?
We've already gone over this, haven't we? You had trouble picking yours.
Yeah,
I have two that I have trouble deciding between.
What's that?
Ted Nugent, Stranglehold.
Oh, that's a good one.
Such a good fucking tune. Like listening to that with the windows down, driving alone with no kids in the back seat. Also, like very, very important detail. So good. Or Here Comes a Regular by The Replacements.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Remember? And I made you listen to it, and it's got that mellow to it. Like,
did I give you a song? I can't remember.
You tried a couple, but you were like, I don't know if I can narrow it down. And I was like, it would probably be a fucking Tool song. I guarantee it would be Maynard. Somewhere like Perfect Circle. Yeah. Like you'd be going towards Maynard, I feel for sure.
I think I
feel like he's your Zen center.
Yeah. I think like Wings for Mary. Or is it Marie? Wings for Marie. That's about his mother. That song, it's one of those songs that just like builds and builds and builds and builds. It's like 10 minutes long. But man, the last chunk of the song is just like Vecna material. Like so, yeah.
Whoa, this will be my second favorite podcast. Who's the first?
Probably Talk Scary to Me.
I was gonna say it's totally Scout.
I mean, I listen to every episode.
She's my favorite. I will follow her to the
I
ends of the
love
earth.
Scout now. Like, oh my God, she's got so much personality.
Oh my God. Hey, babe. I'm just like,
hey, babe.
Hi, honey. I love you too. I just imagine she's saying it to me, and I'm like, you are so cute. Yeah, she's just adorable. Like, just nibble her. She's so adorable.
All right, I guess that's it. I guess we're gonna wrap it up. That was fun. You see another one?
Like, did Beth give her answer for what her Vecna song would be? Because I'm curious.
Beth, what's your Vecna song?
Destiny. I have not watched Maya Hawke's new video. I heard that there's a plethora of nudity, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to see Maya Hawke like that. Nope. Because I'm like,
that would be kind of weird, right?
With how in love I was and have been like growing up with Ethan Hawke, I'm like, I could be your like mommy one day.
I know. That's
so
why
I don't want to see you naked.
And I've seen like Uma Thurman naked, and I was in love with her. So it would be kind of weird.
I always hated Uma Thurman until Kill Bill.
Really?
I put off watching Kill Bill for like 3 years because I hated her because she married Ethan Hawke. I hated her. I wouldn't watch her in anything. And then everybody's like, no, you gotta watch this.
We're going to disagree on that one, Lindsay. Beth says Somebody to Love by Queen. Of course.
I love Kill Bill. I like her now. Relax. Oh, Vince, see? Vince, I'm going to be DMing you, by the way. Destiny, Vince, and Beth, we will be DMing you because we need your help with something.
There you go.
Just so you guys know, we've already been talking about you. By the by.
Yep. And Frank Rackers says Kathy Bates hot tub.
Oh God! And Jack Nicholson. That's a soup that you could just dive right into.
We should do best celebrity nude scenes. We could do one of those.
Oh God! I'll take the 0.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Love you guys. This was fun, Lindsay.
It was so much fun. Thank you.